Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well. This week's parasha, Parashat Noach. The first verse of this week's parasha says, Eile toldot Noach, Noach ish tzadik tamim haya b'dorotav. These are the descendants of Noach. Noach was a righteous man, pure in his generation. There's an argument among the rabbis in the Talmud when it says he was pure in his generation. What does that mean? Does that mean in his generation he was pure, but in another generation he'd been even better? What does that mean in his generation he was a good person, he looked good? Among all those people that were around him, he was actually a fantastic guy. But if he lived in a generation of other fantastic people, he would have been a bit, average. Wouldn't have been great, wouldn't have stuck out at all. So I'm going to focus on that second opinion. If, as I said, Noach lived among people who were terrible people, theft, immorality was rampant, but yet Noach stood out above all of that. He rose above, and he did what was right and good, even with all the pressure around him to do bad, to do evil, to be corrupt. He stayed straight, he stayed pure. If that's so, if there were better people around him, surely he would have learned from their ways and been even better. So how could we say that if he lived in the generation of good people, he'd have been average? No, he'd have learned from them. He'd have seen how to be an even better person, and it would have been amazing. How can we say this about Noach, the only person to survive the flood? Two friends, Tom and Sam, joined the army. Joined together, fit, friendly, professional people. And they joined the army together. And they went through the training together. Both got great marks, great results, passing the test, flying colours, both of them, all over the place. They did really well. At the end of the training, Sam got promoted. His friend came up to the officer in charge and said to him, we entered together. We both did really well together. Why is he getting promoted and I'm not? The officer looked back and said, when things were looking dark, when things were going tough, when things were hard, who was it that pulled you up? When other people wanted to quit, who was there to help them through? Who was the leader of the pack? The answer to that is Sam. And that's the reason why he's getting promoted. If we look at the difference between two of our great leaders in the history, the two great people in Jewish history, Noach and Avraham, they both lived among people who were not doing good, who were evil, who were corrupt. Yet, one of them, in his generation, the world was destroyed. The other one, in his generation, it wasn't. What was the difference between them? The difference is leadership. The difference between a good person and a great person. Yes, Noach was he was a good person. And if he was in the generation of other good people, it would have been even gooder, I guess. Wouldn't have been great, though. He would not have been a great person because he was not leading. He did what he was told. God told Noach, build a teva. Noach built a teva. He didn't try and help other people. He didn't try and influence other people. He didn't try and tell other people what was going on, what was happening. It took him 120 years, the rabbis tell us, to build a teva. Yet, in that time, he didn't manage to convince anybody to become better people. Yet we know Avraham had his tent open to all four sides, would bring people in, and he would allow them to see God. That's the difference between a good person and a great person. Yes, Noach would have been a good person, even better than he was in a generation of other good people. But he would never have been great. He would always have been a bit average. And that's the difference. And it's my hope and my prayer that we can all be great people to show, to influence, and to allow other people to grow through us. Shabbat Shalom.